What if I told you that MTV's executives knew they were destroying their own network, and they did it anyway? In 1992, a single meeting changed everything. 7 strangers, 1 house, and a decision that would kill the most powerful youth network in history. But here's what nobody talks about. MTV didn't just pivot to reality TV for ratings. They were running from a secret that would have destroyed them years earlier. After digging through internal documents, industry reports, and executive testimonies, I've uncovered the real story behind MTV's downfall. And the most shocking part? The network that promised to give youth a voice ended up silencing an entire generation's relationship with music. By the end of this video, you'll understand why MTV's collapse wasn't just inevitable, it was orchestrated, and the smoking gun that proves it has been hiding in plain sight for over 30 years. The Revolutionary Gambit, 1981 to 1985. August 1st, 1981, 12:01 a.m. A small cable channel flickers to life with 5 words that would reshape American culture. Ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll. The first video? Video killed the radio star by the Buggles. The irony would become prophetic in ways nobody could imagine. But MTV wasn't just launching a network. They were executing the most audacious business heist in entertainment history. Here's how they pulled it off. Picture this. You're a record label executive in 1981. Radio is dying among teenagers. Your artists need exposure, but traditional media treats rock music like a disease. Then these young executives from MTV walk into your office with an offer that sounds too good to be true. "Give us your music videos for free," they said. "We'll turn your artists into superstars." What the labels didn't realize was that MTV had just convinced them to fund their own disruption. Record companies were literally paying to create content that MTV would use to build a media empire worth billions. The "I Want My MTV" campaign turned viewers into evangelists. Teenagers weren't just watching MTV, they were demanding their cable operators carry it. MTV had weaponized FOMO before anyone knew what FOMO was. Within 4 years, MTV was reaching 24 million households. But here's the detail that changes everything. MTV's executives knew from day one that this model was unsustainable. Internal memos from 1983 show they were already planning their exit strategy from music videos. Why? Because they understood something the music industry missed. Whoever controls distribution controls everything. The empire expands, mid-80s to mid-90s. By 1984, MTV had become the kingmaker of American youth culture. The VMAs launched that year, and suddenly MTV wasn't just playing music. They were creating events that defined generational moments. But behind the scenes, a different story was unfolding. MTV's research department had discovered something terrifying. Their audience was fragmenting. Hip-hop was exploding. Alternative rock was emerging, and MTV's playlist couldn't serve everyone without alienating someone. The solution? International expansion. MTV exported American youth culture globally, creating local versions that could cater to regional tastes while maintaining the brand's cultural authority. Here's where it gets interesting. MTV's international success proved they had transcended music. They weren't selling songs anymore, they were selling lifestyle, rebellion, and identity. This realization would plant the seeds of their eventual betrayal of music. The Trojan Horse, 1992. Then came the experiment that changed everything. The real world. 7 strangers picked to live in a house and have their lives taped. It premiered May 21st, 1992, and MTV executives watched something unprecedented happen. Viewers were more engaged with these unknown people than with established music stars. The numbers were staggering. The Real World consistently pulled 2 to 3 million viewers, while MTV's music video blocks averaged 800,000. But here's what the public didn't know. MTV had been testing reality formats in focus groups since 1989. This wasn't an experiment, it was a calculated pivot. Why the secrecy? Because MTV's contracts with record labels included clauses about maintaining music programming. If labels discovered MTV was planning to abandon music videos, they could pull their content and destroy the network overnight. So MTV played a double game. Publicly, they positioned The Real World as an extension of their music mission, showcasing the lives of young people who loved music. Privately, they were building the infrastructure to replace music videos entirely. The betrayal begins, mid-90s to late 2000s. By the late 90s, MTV's strategy became clear. Shows like Beavis and Butthead, Daria, and Jackass were pushing music videos to late-night slots. The network that built its empire on music television was systematically erasing music from television. But here's the smoking gun. MTV's own research showed that reality programming was destroying their brand equity among their core demographic. A 1999 internal study revealed that 67% of viewers aged 12 to 18 no longer associated MTV with music discovery. The executives didn't care. Reality TV was cheaper to produce, easier to syndicate, and generated more advertising revenue per hour than music videos. They were optimizing for profit while destroying their cultural relevance. The most damning evidence? MTV's programming executives began referring to music videos as filler content in internal meetings. The format that built their empire had become an inconvenience. The digital disruption, 2005 to 2010. Then YouTube launched in 2005, and MTV's original sin came back to haunt them. Suddenly, anyone could watch any music video, anytime, for free. MTV's monopoly on music video distribution, the foundation of their entire business model, evaporated overnight. But here's the twist. MTV had already abandoned music videos years earlier. They were so busy chasing reality TV ratings that they didn't notice their entire industry being disrupted. The numbers tell the story. In 2008, MTV's ratings among 12 to 34-year-olds dropped 23% in a single quarter. Shows that once pulled millions were struggling to reach hundreds of thousands. The network that defined youth culture was hemorrhaging its core audience. The death spiral, 2010s to present. By 2010, MTV faced a crisis of identity. They weren't a music network anymore, but they weren't successfully competing with dedicated reality TV channels either. They had become a brand without a purpose. The VMAs, once appointment television for an entire generation, became a desperate attempt to recapture relevance. Recent ceremonies struggled to reach 5 million viewers, a fraction of their 1990s peak when they regularly drew 15 to 20 million. But the most revealing detail? MTV's current programming executives openly admit they don't consider music videos viable television content. The format that built their empire is now seen as obsolete by the very network that proved its power. The hidden truth. Here's what MTV doesn't want you to know. Their downfall wasn't caused by external forces. It was an inside job. Internal documents from the early 2000s reveal heated debates between MTV's original founders and new corporate leadership. The founders argued for maintaining music programming and evolving with digital platforms. Corporate executives wanted to maximize short-term profits through reality programming. The money won. But in choosing immediate revenue over long-term brand value, MTV's executives made a fatal miscalculation. They assumed their audience would follow them anywhere. They were wrong. The autopsy. MTV's death can be traced to 3 strategic blunders that seem obvious in hindsight. First, they traded their unique identity for generic programming. MTV became indistinguishable from any other youth-focused network, destroying the brand loyalty that made them essential. Second, they abandoned their symbiotic relationship with the music industry just as that industry needed them most. Instead of partnering to fight digital disruption, they walked away, leaving both industries weaker. Third, they prioritized quarterly earnings over generational impact. Every reality show success moved them further from their core mission, until they had traveled so far from their origin that they couldn't find their way back. The final revelation. But here's the detail I've been building to. The smoking gun that proves MTV's executives knew exactly what they were doing. In 2003, MTV's parent company, Viacom, filed a patent for method and system for transitioning media brands away from core content. The patent specifically outlined strategies for moving audiences from one content type to another while maintaining brand recognition. MTV wasn't just abandoning music videos, they were beta testing a corporate strategy for brand transformation that would be used across Viacom's entire portfolio. The network that promised to be the voice of youth culture had become a laboratory for corporate manipulation. And an entire generation's relationship with music discovery was the casualty. MTV's story isn't just about a network's decline, It's about what happens when corporate greed consumes cultural institutions. They had everything: a loyal audience, advertiser demand, cultural relevance, and a business model that printed money. But they wanted more. More viewers, more revenue, more growth. In chasing everything, they lost what made them irreplaceable. Today, MTV exists as a zombie brand, shambling through cable packages while its former audience discovers music through TikTok, Spotify, and YouTube. The network that once shaped youth culture is now shaped by focus groups and ratings. Desperation. The executives who orchestrated this transformation, they moved on to other networks, other companies, other opportunities to optimize brands into oblivion. But MTV, the real MTV, the one that mattered, died the moment they decided music videos were just filler content. The revolution that began with video killed the radio star ended with reality TV killing the video star. And the most tragic part? It was completely preventable. We are committed to releasing 2 videos a week. Like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more film lore.